All right, so I'm gonna make a video here, and I want to just. This is a game I'm playing with my buddy Bruce. I want to make this for Bruce, um, to just try to help him out here a little bit. Excuse me. So I'm playing as white. He's playing as black, and I want to just set up the context for the current situation of the game right now. So both Bruce and I are very new to chess. I would not consider myself a pro by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I'm going to show you that here by a couple of silly moves that I make that, just were silly. um, now first of all, this bishop move that I initially made was, a pretty cool move. I was pinning the knight to the queen, so the knight would not take my pawn as I pushed it forward here, to take this piece. And Bruce, he understood that, he saw that, and realizes that if he does that, then if he decides to take, then he's going to lose his queen right there. And so he has enough awareness to know not to do that. And so that's again, that's good situational awareness. Now, he decides what he's going to do is he's going to kick out my bishop. Now, I thought about possibly I could just push my bishop back right there. The problem is my bishop gets trapped right there, especially if I move my bishop back and then Bruce does that. Then my bishop's gone. It's just nothing I can do. I got really nothing. I don't even think I would want to take that pawn because then he takes right there, and then now his rook's gonna be able to come down like that. His rook's open. So I decided not to pull my bishop back because he was going to be trapped. So um, Now that's what Bruce decides to do in order to get rid of my bishop. And the other thing he could have done, he could have just moved his queen like right there. That's another thing he could have done. Then the pin's removed. That's one thing. But I'm not saying this is a bad move. I'm not saying that at all. Either move would be fine. My point is that what I decided to do is I was like, oh, you're going to take my bishop? Well, then I'm going to take your queen with a pawn. That was really a dumb move that I made. I don't know why I thought about that, because all Bruce has to do is just take the pawn. Like, that's not, there's no, I'm not pressuring Bruce in any way to make a decision that's only going to benefit me. Like, how's this going to benefit me if I just lose a pawn sitting right there? What does that do? And not only does that, but it activates his queen. His queen is now able to just, she can go, she's now looking at that file right there, maybe right here, and I would definitely be a little nervous if she's right there. He could check my king right there, not allow me to castle here. um, and and I'd have to, I would be in serious trouble, because then my king is going to go this way. It locks in my rook. He can't come out. I'd have to move my bishop to then get my king up here, and then my rook can come out. And that's a lot of moves that I would have to make. And that's what's going to happen before then. So that was just a dumb move that I made, in hindsight. So that's what Bruce does. He goes ahead and takes. And again, right there is pretty nasty. Again, my king can't go here because whoop, right there. So these squares are being, basically, if his queen came down right there, both these squares, there's only one place for my king to go, and it's right here. And then I'm in pretty good trouble at that point. That point, then you might bring this knight down, and start thinking about some real problems here. I'd be in trouble. So yeah, there you go. So what I do is I decided the only thing I can do now at this point, because I'm thinking about him possibly doing that, is I'm going to bring my bishop down and prevent that from happening. This is all what chess is about. It's about, you have to think about what you think at least is going to be your opponent's best move, and anticipate that, um, and make your moves accordingly. That are going to, sometimes moves have to be purely defensive, like this was. I did not want to have to retreat my bishop, but I had to. That was a good move by Bruce. Kicks out my bishop. But now I'm thinking. Now I'm on the defense. I'm like, I gotta prepare for a potential attack coming. He's got these two knights right here. He can do some stuff there. He can push a pawn up. That's not good for me. My knight right here, and then his queen's right there. So he's got a lot of potential here. I lost control of the center. In other words, that's what happened. Now Bruce does continue to push, he goes ahead and attacks my bishop. Maybe because he's thinking about this, so he wants to get rid of my bishop first. Um, and look at this, my queen is basically trapped. She can't do anything right now. She can't go here. I'd have to push up right there, and then she can come out. Not right there, but she can maybe come out right there, and check his king, something like that. But I don't know if I really want my queen to be all by herself out there. Anyways, so what I decided to do is I'm going to activate my other knight, see if I can. I'm trying to remember exactly what I was thinking at this point. I was thinking about, because here's what I think was my big issue was, I don't want to take that knight because then he can just take with a pawn and then be attacking this knight. Well, okay, let's go back first. If I did this, he's got a couple of options. He could just take with his knight right there. His pawn right there. And I just threw away a knight. I get a knight in return, but still, it's just not a... But the other thing he can do is just take my knight with his queen, and then now she's just staring down this file right here. Now my bishop's pinned. That's gonna be tough for me. I guess the best move for me would be just pawn right there, attack the queen. But then she could just back up and just continue to really put pressure on this right here. My queen could then come out, but still, it's not a good. It's not something that I would really want to have to deal with. So I decided to bring out this knight and start thinking about taking that knight, because that knight can become very problematic, because especially if, let's say his queen's right here and then he starts making some moves, and then right there, that's checkmate right there, as long as that knight's sitting there. So my plan is to get rid of this knight, but I'm also thinking about, because I don't like where his queen's at, I'm going to kick his queen out right there. I'm set up to kick his queen out. So he goes ahead and he does what I was just doing. He pins my knight to his queen. Now, again, typically when you're doing this, you're about to do something that's, requires you not letting this knight do what you want it to do. That's the whole idea. So I go ahead and I take the knight. The purpose of taking his knight is to gain a piece, also removing some of the pressure on these squares, also attacking his queen, forcing his queen to move. Now, at this point, I was thinking to myself, Bruce is going to move his queen. The question is, where is he going to move her? He could, if he moves her, right there, then that's, if he did that, then he's staring down this pawn. I'm going to move my rook right here. That's what my thinking is. If he moves her right here, this is my next move, because if he does this and I ignore that, that's a defenseless pawn, and then he's just broken right through my defenses, and now he's attacking my rook, and now I'm on the defensive. There's really no way for me saving my rook. He'll probably lose his queen, but and that's probably the benefit there that I have of that, because I have my queen guarding the rook. But still, I'm just going to be ready for that. So it keeps him from taking that pawn. Whoops. And now you're just spoiled what he actually did. Now, if Bruce goes down here, she's gone. If she goes right here, she's gone. If she goes right here, she's gone. So basically, this is guarded, and that's guarded. So she can't go in either of those squares. The best move for her would be something like this, attacking the knight. So if I'm trying to remember exactly, if Bruce did that, my plan was to castle, I believe. I think it was the castle. I had a plan of how I was going to protect that knight. Oh, you know what? I think no, that's not what it was. I don't remember exactly what. Well, you know what? Yeah, now I think about it. Yeah, that wasn't a good plan that I originally had. I had an idea of having my queen right here, but I'm not going to be able to do that in time. So I'd have to do that, and then this, and then he takes, and then I might move my queen here, but because she's guarded by the rooks, so it might force him to. After that, what would be his next move? He'd probably retreat her, because there's no safe move for her at that point. So that would be, again, kicking her out, basically. if she did that, it would be the same thing, because this and this are both going to be attacking tonight. So, that was what I was basically my plan was. But here's what happened. I think Bruce, if you watch this, Bruce, this is what you did. You got tunnel visioned. You thought, I'm gonna. I don't know exactly what this move was supposed to be doing. Attacking my knight, sure, but um, maybe he was thinking, oh, I'm gonna kick out his knight because the knight's a problem. My knight's looking at these squares. Um, you know, so if he wanted to get my knight out of there because of one of these particular squares, something I don't know. I'm not totally sure. But another thing my knight was looking at was that one right there. And so Bruce, I think, got tunnel visioned for whatever he was doing here, forgot that I was attacking his queen. And now I'm thinking, I honestly thought she was going to move out of the way, and she didn't. I thought, I gotta go for it, dude. So I took the queen. And so this is just something for Bruce to understand here. You got to be careful you don't get tunnel visioned. You have to pay attention to what your opponent is doing. Now again, I'm trying to do that, and I'm looking at this. I'm trying to think. Well, I didn't think too long, obviously, because of that. But I was like, for a moment, I thought, what's that for? And I was like, wait, he just threw his queen. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll throw away a knight for that, sure. And probably the best move is to take the bishop, because then you activate the bishop now. But yeah, dude, like that. So I went for it. So and now everything's basically swung back in my favor. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The other thing I want to do. So, is the game lost for Bruce? No, it's not. You're down 11 points, but it's not lost. What can Bruce do at this point to get himself back into the game? First, if Bruce sees this, here's what you need to think about. Don't panic. You don't panic. When you panic, that's when things go really bad. So you gotta look at the situation that you're in, and you have to think about weaknesses, because even though now I'm winning the game, that doesn't mean that I'm out of the woods. This can still go badly for me. There's some disadvantages right now that Bruce can take advantage of. So let's look at this. Look at my situation and think about one of the disadvantages that I have. Well, at least to me, that I think is a disadvantage to me. Even though I still have my queen, what's she doing right now? She's doing pretty much nothing. She's being the knight's pinned. I can't move my knight because of the pin right now, so I have to get rid of his bishop. I have nothing attacking the bishop, or I got to move my queen. But where am I going to move my queen? I can move her here and here, but what's that doing? She's blocked. She can't do anything here. She can't go. She can't do anything here. She's blocked. I'm also blocking the rook as a result. That rook can't get in the game. This rook's not in the game. You can potentially get your rook into the game. Now you have to move the king right now because he's in check. You could just remove the check with that, and then eventually get your rook right there, and you can start looking down here. That's one of the good benefits about rooks is think about those kinds of things, putting pressure on squares. Kind of like what you're doing here. You're putting pressure down on this line. But so here's the thing. I'm thinking, okay, if you're white, what's white thinking? White's thinking this is still not good. I mean, I might take right there in my next move. Then you just take back, like that. That way well, see, here's the thing. If I take, see, once again, I can't take because of the bishop. It's pinning. So my queen's basically stuck right here. She's the best thing for me to do. So if I'm white and I want to get my queen into the game, what's the move you think I'm going to make? Yes, pawn forward right there. So you got to think about that. You have to think about what your opponent wants to do next. If you were them, what would you want to do next? That's the big part of chess. You have to think about these things. You have to think about what your opponent wants to do. I want to get my queen out of the game, out into the game, and because now that his queen is gone, now it's like the perfect time for my queen to come out and just start doing some stuff. And then once I do this, what's the next move for me that you think I'm going to do? You think I'm going to attack your knight with my queen? You're crazy. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to lose my queen. I would probably do something like either that or that. Now, what's the point of these two? Well, now I'm not going to do that, but maybe like this, looking right down at that, and then now I'm attacking the rook. And then after that, your best move would probably have rook right here, so that you don't lose the rook and you don't get checked either at the same time. That way, my queen will probably not go for that because if I take the rook with my queen, I'm going to lose her. Oh, excuse me. Again, as you've seen me demonstrate here, I'm still a beginner at chess. I still have problems with seeing the whole board as it is. Make mistakes, but I try to think through it before I make every single move. And then I realize, oh no, wait, that isn't a good move after all. That's not a good idea. So we're not going to do that. So that's just I want to just some tips for all of us, really. Honestly, it's for all of us here, especially new players. Just learning how to anticipate what your opponent wants to do next. I could obviously, if I do this, I'm doing it mainly because I'm attacking the knight, but I'm also wanting to bring my queen out. I could also just castle. That's not a bad move at this point of the game. I didn't want to do it earlier because of the queen and the knights and then the bishop right there. That could have turned out really bad for me, and so did not want to do that. But again, so look at this situation for white. Even though white is now winning, is white going to win? Is the question. Even though you've given up your queen, you've also been given an opportunity to get your other bishop into the game. And you can still put a lot of pressure on me. You still got both your rooks. You got plenty of pawns. Start pushing the pawns up and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of pressure coming down in this area, which is again one of the reasons why I'm sort of reluctant to castle, because these pawns can just start raining hailfire down, and you're going to lose a lot of them. But the point of the pawns is you're throwing them away in order to destroy all of this, to break it all into pieces, and just put tons of pressure and possibly get one of them to promote. But again, the trick is doing it in the right order. Is like if pushing him up first, maybe, and then or actually pushing him up. Actually, now I think about it, push that one up first. Because if I take, then you can just take, and then do stuff with that. Or right here, I guess right here is actually pretty fine. You could just, because right there, if you take, now you're attacking right there. And then you're also staring down that rook. Yeah. You know what? See, again, I'm a beginner. I'm still learning these things. It's actually probably better to push that one down because he's now attacking him. And you can take that on your next move. If you want to, my queen taking would be a terrible idea because these two guarding it. So basically, you put a lot of pressure right here like this. I'm that knight screwed because I'm not going to move the knight. I'm not going to move the knight away because then my queen's going to get taken. So I'm just going to have to give up the knight. So if you were to push this guy forward at this point, well, first I would just take him, But if you just then push that pawn forward, look what it does. That one little pawn move, what it can do is now putting pressure here, and I got nothing that can counteract it at this point. I got a bishop here guarding it, and I have a queen looking at it, but that's it. You have 1, 2, 3. I only have 2 guarding it, which means you have more control over this, which means that when you push him down, and then you take, if I take with a bishop, you can take with your bishop, or you can take with your knight. If I were you, I would do it with the knight, because that's check, and then, my king has to move maybe right here. I could move him right there. Then I'm just gonna have to get my king has to get out in the open like that, things like that. And then you can just start pushing more pawns forward like that. You look at all these pawns you got right here, and you can just start. So you can do stuff like that. So again, this is it's swung in my favor here because of you got tunnel vision right there. But you want to learn how to win chess without relying on your queen, and I think that's the problem with a lot of us beginners. And I think it tells how much of a beginner we are when we rely on our queen so much. It shows a lack of creativity and and reliance on your other pieces. Your queen, even though she's very strong, also still has weaknesses. And for example, your queen, even though she's the most powerful piece, by herself, doesn't mean much. In end games, it does, but in situations like this, not really. She can be neutered, as it were. She can be rendered almost useless if an opposing player knows how to do it. So don't rely on your queen too much. Don't think because my queen's gone, the game's over. It's not necessarily over. You can still do a lot of things that will create lots of problems for me. You can close in. You can hunt the queen down with all your remaining pieces if you want. And then as you hunt the queen down, you can also just think about start pushing the pawns down, stuff like that. I mean, again, you got lots of pawns left. You can protect the pawns with the rooks if you wanted to, or bishops, or your bishop, your last bishop. Oh yeah, you still have both your bishops. Your bishops on the lines and stuff like that. You can protect them. It would just put a lot of pressure. But again, a lot of this comes from thinking. You have to think about these things. You got to think about what's the best move, that my opponent's going to want to play, and then how do I counteract that? How do I make it harder for my opponent to play the moves that he wants to play? So those are things you can do. Anyways, I'm going to just close this out. It's just sort of a little lesson for all of us, especially us newbies to the game. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later.